Certain missions in China, for example the Anglicans, American Presbyterians, and Methodists, as well as the old ABCFM, and the venerable British LMS, dated to well before 1900. By the early 20th century, they were all long established and reasonably well funded. They continued to operate high-budget institutions like schools, hospitals, and seminaries. There were also increasing numbers of new missionaries coming on the field who were committed to those institutions. They had the training and credentials to be teachers in a mission school or college or YMCA schools. The Student Volunteer Movement for Foreign Missions, SVM, was in its North American heyday during this period. More young and idealistic SVM recruits came to China than to any other mission field, with the ambitious SVM watchword, "The evangelization of the world in this generation." With the missionary enterprise on the whole going well after 1900, there was no sense of urgency on the part of missionaries in China actively, intentionally, and aggressively to seek out capable young Chinese Christian talents and to nurture, encourage, and promote Chinese leadership. Every mission statement of purpose mentioned the goal of turning all this responsibility over to Chinese control, but there was no sense of hurry. However, the Great Edinburgh Conference changed the situation. The World Missionary Conference was held in 1910 in Edinburgh, Scotland. One of the major themes at the Edinburgh Conference was the promotion of unity among Protestant churches and indigenization of mission-led churches. China actually got extra attention and support from the chairman of the Edinburgh Conference, Dr. John Mott. In 1913, Mott visited China and presided over the meeting of the China Continuation Committee, which was aimed at coordinating Protestant churches in China from more than 100 denominations, and to serve as a liaison between the churches of China, the Edinburgh Special Committees, and the mission boards in the West. Chang Jingyi was chosen to be the first joint secretary of the committee. Chang Jingyi, 1881 to 1939, was unquestionably one of the greatest Chinese Christian leaders in China's Republican period. A strong voice for a Chinese church independent from the denominational churches established by the foreign mission boards, Chang Jingyi, then a 28-year-old LMS pastor from Beijing, impressed the Edinburgh Conference by boldly declaring to the assembled Western missionaries, "Your denominationalism has never interested the Chinese mind. He finds no delight in it." During the conference, Chang was one of the 3 delegates representing the Chinese church, and he delivered a speech that helped launch the Chinese independent church movement. Chang attended the Anglo-Chinese Institute, established by the LMS in Beijing when he was a teenager. At the age of 15, he went to study theology in Tianjin and graduated in 1900. From 1903 to 1908, Chang was invited to Britain by LMS pastor George Owen to revise the Chinese New Testament. Taking the opportunity of being in Britain, Chang took a theological course at the Glasgow Bible College. In 1908, Chang Jingyi returned to Beijing and was ordained as a pastor of Mishi Hutong Church in Beijing at the age of 27. He represented the Chinese Church at the World Missionary Conference 3 times and received 3 honorary doctorate degrees conferred by foreign and Chinese theological institutes. The new generation of Chinese who became key players in the continued Protestant institutional building were just coming to the fore in the decade after the Revolution of 1911. Besides Chang Jingyi, one of the most prominent was Yu Rishang, David Z.T. Yui, 1882 to 1936, who was a rising star in the fast-expanding YMCA. Another was Wang Zhengting, 1882 to 1961, another YMCA veteran who served in Yuan Shikai's early administration as a cabinet member. Others included a few faculty at newly established Yanjing University, 1916, to be the jewel of the Christian college system. These Chinese Christians became very active in the early 1920s. Liu Tingfang, T.T. Liu, 1891 to 1947, a brilliant and prolific scholar, returned from his Ph.D. in the U.S. to join the Yanjing faculty in 1920. Xiao Sichen, 1888 to 1979, probably modern China's foremost Christian theologian and a penetrating writer, and Wu Leishuan, 1870 to 1944, a classically trained Confucian scholar who came to Christianity in midlife, tried to reconcile Confucianism and Christianity, and in the mid-1920s became the first Chinese vice president of Yanjing, and then its chancellor for 8 years. These Chinese Christian intellectuals and other Chinese faculty, together with a few foreign faculty members at Yanjing, constituted the Shenming Shi, which met regularly on the campus and was dedicated to a bicultural examination of issues of faith and society, especially those of reform and indigenization of the church in China. Their journal, Shengming, Life Journal, was widely read and influential in the intellectual world of the Christian institutions.